And good afternoon, guys. Good to see you. That's hot tea. Whew. So today's episode is going to be a little different today. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, but it may run a little longer than intended. But like every video I make on every video on this channel, this has to do with your personal growth and development. But I'm going to do a Netflix series review this time. So there's a show on Netflix that really caught my eye, and not necessarily caught my eye in a good way. So I don't know if you guys have heard of the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why. It just wrapped up and finished its 4th season, and if you guys have seen or heard of it, it's a pretty controversial show. So basically, it has to do with a lot of things, certain words that I can't repeat because I don't want to get in trouble on YouTube. But if you've never heard of 13 Reasons Why, Google it. It has to deal with a lot of adolescent issues with depression, with anxiety, a lot of other things, words that I can't repeat. But I thought it was an interesting show, and I thought it was a good show to do a video on because it's prevalent in what teenagers go through now with depression and anxiety. But there's a lot of things about the show that I didn't like. Yeah, it touches a lot of controversial, deep, dark issues that a lot of teenagers go through, but it also it promotes it in the wrong sense. It sheds light on those dark issues, but it also kind of promotes it. So if you've watched the show, it's not an easy show to watch. It's a pretty dark and gloomy show. And what I've noticed about it is that it promotes the culture of victimhood and anxiety into adolescence. And I'm sure based on all of our upbringings, I've had anxiety and depression in my own life. Everybody has. But the issue that I have with the show is that it focuses on depression and anxiety, but doesn't focus on empowerment. It's it could be a very doom and gloom kind of show, and it doesn't give after every episode it gives you, well, if you had issues with problems and anxiety, follow 13reasons.info, and it's a call center if you are struggling with depression and anxiety. But I don't think it's a great message for young kids. Yes, it sheds the light on it, but it doesn't. Adolescent life and adolescent development is not about, shouldn't all be about depression and anxiety. And that's the issue it lays down for me, is adolescence is hard. It's hard for everybody. But the show should promote in some way trying to overcome the anxiety, trying to empower the kids. And there's always one issue after another issue after another issue. Yes, it's TV, it's Netflix, that's made to be more dramatized for TV purposes for the audience, but and a psychological effect, if you are someone who does struggle with depression, anxiety, all the other things in that show, it sheds its light, but it may trigger more things, more problems in your psyche, instead of actually having some sense of empowerment and how to overcome these things. And that's, like, for me, yeah, a lot of my teenage life was like, a lot of it was doom and gloom, but teenage life should not be promoted as doom and gloom. It's a growing period in your life. You're there to learn, you're there to grow, you're there to overcome adversity. And that's the issue that I had with the show, is there's not a whole lot of overcoming adversity. It's just one problem after another, and just like every character just seems to be spiraling down in control until one dies, another dies, and just it's there's not a whole lot of empowerment and overcoming controversy and overcoming conflict. And I think that's the part of teenage development, teenage life that we need to focus on more. Yes, it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult, but you need to have adults in your life to help you overcome that conflict and empower yourselves. Which I find the show didn't really promote. So there's one scene in the end of the 4th season where they basically do a fake lockdown of the school. It's a stage lockdown. But the way basically the way it's filmed is it appears to be a real lockdown, like there's someone in the school trying to hurt people. Basically, you find out, and you hear gunshots in the hallways. You find out later that it was staged, that the principal actually hired cops to come in and shoot rubber bullets in the school to make all the other students think that it was real. It was not. And that says the main character, Clay, into a complete outrage, and to me a justifiable outrage, and then he gets arrested by police. You know, he has a complete mental breakdown over that, and that's an episode that bothered me because it was basically staff of the school treating the kids like they're criminals, adolescents, teenagers like they're criminals. Like you have to stage a real lockdown just to see how they'll actually react. And one of the main characters even went to the principal's office and mentioned, like, it didn't help us, it traumatized us. And I agree. You're basically promoting a show that young teenagers are basically criminals. Yeah, they have anxiety and depression, but they're not goddamn criminals. They need that extra help. So you're treating them like they're criminals. I know it's all part of the drama of the show, but it can be a touchy subject. I don't know if you guys have noticed. It's like 35 degrees here. I'm sweating like crazy. But we're going to get through this because I feel like this is a very important episode, a very important topic to talk about. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for this. Every character in 13 Reasons Why always seemed to... This may sound bad, but it seems they care so much about each other and their conflict with each other, and they don't care much about themselves and bettering themselves and empowering themselves. One character has a drug problem on the streets, the other character has anxiety, and one character is a misogynist, and it's just... There's so much that's good caring about other people, but there's not enough investment into each other. And I think a lot of people do go through that. And I think it's important for you guys, if you are going through difficulty, going through a hard time, it's important to care about other people and the people around you. But I've said it in multiple videos before, it's a little bit more important to care about yourself and to build yourself up. Why? What is that? It's enlightened self-interest. And that didn't come from me. If you watch The Rational Male, listen to the Rational Male book series, you'll hear the concept of enlightened self-interest. It's basically, you can't help others unless you help yourself first. Help yourself, and then you could be more of a value and more of a benefit to others. And that's what I find the show doesn't focus on. They're caring too much about other people and not focusing on themselves. And basically, every character is doing a spiral downwards, whatever their issue is, because they're not caring and they're not taking much interest and investment into themselves. Enlightened self-interest. The social issues matter in in the story, in the show, but there's no resolve in the social issues that happen in the show with depression and anxiety. Yes, of course, it's all part of the show to be more dramatic, but does that send a really good message of teenagers who are actually going through these problems? There's got to be a resolve. There's got to be a way to empower them. Life is just doom and gloom. Life is just full of anxiety and depression. Part of it, but doesn't have to be if you do the work on yourself. Put in the work and do what you got to do to better yourself and make yourself a happier person. It's not all doom and gloom. You have to care and put investment into yourself, and every character in the show I find was just one problem after another, and they don't get any resolve. There's no overcoming anything of their social issues. Once he feels like they overcome something, there's just one other problem. Of course, it's meant for TV, meant to be dramatic, meant to garner a certain amount of attention, but take into account that it is a very sensitive show, very triggering show, that a lot of people can be going through those same issues. And people that are going through those issues need to be given the message that it's not all doom and gloom, that there is light at the end of the tunnel as long as you work on yourself and you have people there to help you and support you and then care about you and take a vast interest and investment into your growth and your productivity, which the show didn't really touch on, and that could be upsetting to a lot of people. And this may sound bad too, but I'm just shedding a light on reality, as I find the show can be a reflection of our social culture now and what everything's going on in our world now. Everything's doom and gloom, and that's where a big problem of the show lies. That yes, part of it, yes, it is a reflection of our social culture, but I think it needs to send the right message with the right resolve. And to me, there was not enough in that show, and there's not enough resolve. That there's like one scene right at the end where there's a little bit of humor, a little bit of lightheartedness, but other than that, it was just heavy and dark and depressing. And honestly, if I knew someone that was going through the issues that the show touched on, I wouldn't recommend watching that show, because there's not a whole lot of a resolve, not a whole lot of happy ending. And yeah, it's a show that touches on real life situations, but at the end of the day, people tune into Netflix, people tune into Disney Plus and TV to do what? It's an escapism. And sometimes at the end of the day, we need just a little bit of an escapism. I don't think it's healthy to have escapism all the time, every hour of your day. You got to go through life, and you got to work through that, and you got to make your life better, and you got to face it, and you got to take risks and face the challenges and overcome adversity in your life. But sometimes at the end of the day, having a drink, having a glass of wine, just putting your feet up and having a little escapism is nice. That's why Marvel movies are so fun to watch, because it's so goddamn empowering. I don't know about you guys, but when I finish watching a Marvel movie like the Avengers, Thor, Captain America, I walk out of that, I feel like Captain America. I feel like Thor. It's empowering. And I find like a show like 13 Reasons Why, yes, it touches a lot of real life issues, but it's not empowering. There's no resolve. And that's the issue that I had with watching the show. There needs to be resolve, and there needs to be empowerment at the end of all that, so people who are going through those things know that, yeah, they are climbing in an uphill battle, but they can get to the mountaintop and they can overcome it. Because a lot of the characters in 13 Reasons Why did not overcome their problems, and their problems took over them. Is that a good message to send young people who are going through those problems, or do you want to empower them, strengthen them? You want to learn from that and grow from that, and be a show that's going to help on your what? Your personal growth and development. And that's what this channel is all about. Good, I'll end it here, 15 minutes in. I didn't want to keep you guys for like a half hour. On that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. You know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Gonna get this channel to grow. Do what you gotta do. If you want, you can watch past book reviews on books that have helped my personal growth and development. You can watch different videos of the Storytime show. And my next show will be on Monday, July 13th. And the message that I hope you guys take away from that is, yes, take 13 Reasons Why seriously, but not too seriously. Because it can be triggering, it can be problematic, that if you are going through situations like that that the show portrays, there needs to be empowerment and there needs to be a light in the tunnel. There needs to be a purpose to grow and overcome controversy and overcome anxiety and depression and mental health problems. There needs to be a way out. Find the people that love you, find the people that support you, take a vast interest in you, who care about your growth and development, and invest into those people. Those people who don't add value to your life and are toxic, people that bring you down, cut them loose. People need to add value to life and bring you to the top of the mountaintop to reach your full potential. And I will see you all in another life. Have a great day, and I will see you all on Monday. Bye.